So it's my great pleasure to introduce to you the 50th Police Chief of Oklahoma City, Wade Gourley.
I was hoping today there'd be so many people in here that the fire department would have to clear the room. So I saw Chief Kelly back there. I think we're okay. I think we're still good. But first of all, I want to thank everyone for being here today to support me. I really appreciate everyone in the room being here. I want to thank City Manager Craig Freeman, former Chief and retired Assistant City Manager M.T. Berry, Assistant City Manager Kenny Soodle, and then Personnel Director Diana Berry as well for believing in me and trusting in me to lead the greatest department in the country. I'm extremely humbled and honored. I also want to thank Interim Chief Jeff Becker, who's been doing 2 jobs during this time as Chief since Chief City retired, and I think he deserves a hand from everybody in the room. He's done an outstanding job in keeping the department on a steady course and moving forward to meet the challenges we face each and every day. I want to thank former Police Chief Bill City. His dedicated service to this department for the past 41 years has set me up for success. I would not be here today were it not for his support and guidance through my career. He laid a foundation for me to continue the work and move forward with procedural justice, criminal justice reform, community relationships, those things that are important in the community that we serve. Since completing the hiring process for Chief, I kind of took a step back, looked back at everything with the process, which started with submitting my application and resume back in March. Throughout the process, I learned 3 things that are important to those responsible for making this decision: leadership, trust, and people. In every interview, I found the questions centered around these areas. When you read articles that talk about leadership or the qualities of a good leader, you'll find several words mentioned. Words like honesty, integrity, commitment, the ability to inspire others, accountability, and passion. Quite simply, these are the basic characteristics of any good police officer. As I thought about this, I realized these words describe the men and women of this police department I've served with for almost 30 years and continue to work with each and every day. They never cease to amaze me, and I expect them to hold me accountable as their leader to embody the same qualities on a daily basis in every decision I make. Trust is the second thing, and it's at the forefront of everything we do as a police department. Without trust, we have nothing, and there is no doubt why this is important. Trust runs several ways in my position. It must extend to the sworn and non-sworn members of this department. If they do not have trust in me, it will be very difficult for them to earn the trust of those we serve. The community must be able to trust me, to stand before them and answer questions so we remain accountable. They must trust I have their best interests in mind so they too can trust the officer they encounter under sometimes very difficult circumstances. Just as important is the trust of city leaders and elected officials. They have to believe in me so that critical incidents are handled appropriately, and when questions arise, they have no doubt I will always tell them the truth. Serving people is what we as police officers signed up for, and it's the third part of this that was stressed is so important. If you ask almost any officer why they do this job, it's in order to help people. We are in the people business. As Chief, this is more important than ever. Being a good listener and able to take criticism is at times the most important part of the job. We serve all people of this city, and their issues are our issues. We work together to solve them. This also means the work of the Oklahoma City Police Department does not get accomplished without people. The people who work here deserve my gratitude each and every day. They also deserve the care and compassion of a leader who recognizes the job comes with a lot of stress. Stress that sometimes becomes almost unbearable. This is when the people of this organization must step up and help each other so we're not losing our greatest asset. My goal is for no one in this department to ever feel they're not valued as an individual. So in conclusion, I want to give the credit and glory for all I've been blessed with to God. He's given me almost made it. He's given me way more than I could ever deserve. I want to extend a special thank you to my family. For supporting me throughout my entire life and career. I wouldn't be here without each and every one of them. Many times I've missed holidays or special occasions because the citizens of Oklahoma City needed me. Never once have they complained or put any pressure on me to do anything else. They are the reason I'm here today, and they also realize they take on this job with me, whether they want to or not. So with that, again, I appreciate everyone being here. I appreciate your support. Won't be able to do it without you. And with that, I'll take a few questions if you got any.
Chief Bill Crump from the Oklahoma.
Yes, sir.
What approach will you take with the department with regard to immigration and customs enforcement and the relationship that you have with federal immigration authority?
It's not going to change. We're going to continue as we've always done. And the thing about that is a lot of people don't realize, but we don't enforce immigration laws. That's a federal government role. And so nothing's going to change as far as that in our position. We want those in this community that need us to feel like they can call us without fear of being deported or something else happen. And one of the things that I've mentioned before too is that oftentimes there's people out there that specifically prey on those individuals because they know they may be leery of law enforcement. So we have to do everything we can to break that barrier. And I think we've had a lot of strides in the last several years in doing that and getting that trust in the community so that they won't be fearful to call us. And nothing's going to change with how we do that and what that role is. It's going to continue.
My understanding is that currently you'll support ICE in a way that protects them in case violence breaks out or anything like that? Whether it's, I don't know, parking a squad car at the end of the street or something like that. Is that the way approach that the department takes now?
Are you talking about like actively being engaged in?
Yeah, like if they're doing a raid or something like that, are you going to be nearby in case something goes wrong so you can be in a support role if needed?
Only reason we would do something like that is like we would do with any law enforcement agency. If they need our help, if they're in a situation, you know, where they're in trouble or anything like that, we're not going to deny that. We're going to respond to that. But we're not going to be actively engaged in enforcing immigration law. That's not what we do. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
You mentioned in your Facebook video about recruiting is going to be obviously a big priority and it's going to have to be with all the new officers. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Actually, we've taken some steps recently to move forward with that, and we've actually been doing pretty good in getting a large group of officers to apply. We recently did a, lack of a better term, I'm trying to think, it's yes, online application, NeoGov. I couldn't pull it out. And that's helped us a lot in recruiting a lot of people. My son's in the military, and so we get a lot of military applicants, and they come from all over the country. So having a way that those people can apply online has been really helpful in doing that too. And then just, you know, doing things we've done some community outreach as far as recruiting. You might have seen some of the billboards and things, and that's been very successful. Through NeoGov, we can now monitor how many applications we get. And just since we started that campaign, we've seen a spike in applications. So we know that's working, and that's what we want. And we've seen more in the way of minority applications as well, which is very helpful.
I think you mentioned that. Did you like to have more minorities apply?
We always would, because it's a tough area that departments all around the country struggle with. So anything we can do to improve that, and I feel like we are. Our numbers look like they're trending in that way and trending up. And so anything we can do to kind of set that standard across the country, we want to do that, because every law enforcement agency is working with that and struggling.
There's been a lot of talk today about reaching underserved, underrepresented people in the community. How will your approach be different in tackling that?
I think just the biggest thing is, you know, social media is a big thing right now too. We're starting to do a lot more with that, with social media and reaching out. But we've got to, and we've talked about this too as a group, we have to do it more from, it's got to be at all levels. It's got to be from the officer level up to the chief. It can't just be me. If I'm the only one doing it, we're not going to be successful, because Oklahoma City is a big city. And I think I've got the right command staff. I've got the right personnel in place to do that. It amazes me the things I see just through our social media and others that are out there, where people are putting things, interactions that they've had with our officers. Those are all real critical. I mean, just every day-to-day things, whether it's changing a tire or helping somebody at the gas station with directions or anything like that, that's all part of outreach that people don't realize. And so the more we can do that, the more people see that, it'll extend to those that feel they're underserved as much. And we want to, again, we want to be a police department for everybody. That's our goal. That's what we want. So the more we can do that, the better off we'll be. But I do think social media right now is kind of the key to that and moving forward in what we're doing. And we've talked about perhaps expanding some of those things and doing some things a little bit differently there that will help us with that outreach too.
Chief Brett Dickerson, Oklahoma City Free Press. How would you characterize your relationship with the police union, the union that represents your rank and file officers right now?
I think I have a good relationship with them. We've sat down many times and talked about things, and the key to that is we're not always going to agree. They know that. But when we get to those points, I'm always going to do what I think is right and best for the citizens of Oklahoma City and the police department. But ultimately, that's what they're trying to do too. They're trying to protect the officers. And so as long as we both sit down and agree to that and know that sometimes going forward, there may still be a grievance, there may still be an arbitration, but everybody has the best interests in mind, I think things will always work out for the best in the long run.
You've been on the force for what, 30 years? Is that right?
Almost, it'll be 30 years in September.
How has it changed? How has policing changed in those 30 years?
Well, it's changed a lot. A lot of these people know me, so you know, just the transparency is probably the biggest thing. We never really thought about that as much before. You know, we would arrest people, take them to jail. There wouldn't be a whole lot of explanation with what we're doing. Body cameras is probably the biggest thing, and it amazes me how well our officers have embraced that, because they like having that because it protects them too. But it's and technology. I go on and on. I mean, my first police car had a radio in it with just a few channels, and that was it. And now, you know, we've got radios that can talk to almost anybody in the metro. We've got computers in the car. We've got cell phones. And we're looking at other technology things that are moving forward, probably one of our greatest challenges. But it's changed a lot, but it's been neat to watch, you know, coming in when I came in 1989 and seeing where we are now. It's really neat to watch, and I'm excited. Who knows what the future holds? I think it's only going to continue to change and evolve as we go forward. But the best thing about that is through all of that, we've got some very resilient people that have embraced it all along. And you know, the officers that we work with on a daily basis, every new thing that's come up, every time we think that, you know, they're going to push back or they're going to get tired of this, they accept it, and they just go out and keep doing the job every day.
How do those changes in technology translate to more effective policing?
Well, number one, it gives us the ability to target those areas where maybe crime is starting to spike and trend upward. It gives us the ability to communicate better, more real time with the officers in the field. When that call comes in, they now get a lot more information than they used to. You know, used to we just had the radios, so only so much information was getting put out over there. Now they've got their computers in their car. They've got access to a lot of different things, a lot of databases that give them, you know, real-time criminal information on wanted persons. I make the statement now, I spent 15 years in a patrol car, and it hasn't really been that long since I've been off the streets, but I really wish a lot of the things that we have today we would have had back when I was a young patrol officer, because I'm thinking, man, we could have found a lot of people and really made much more of a difference. And so, and the officers out here today are using that. They really understand how to do that. And I would say another part of that is used to when a patrol officer got a call, they might try to run something down or see if they could find a suspect, but there just wasn't a lot of information there a lot of times. So they were just making a report and go on. I've seen patrol officers in the last several years initiate major investigations that end up arresting a large amount of people that you know, may even be so much as a crime ring that's going on because of the technology that they have in the car and what they're doing with it. So it's helped a lot.
Does that also translate to greater officer safety?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. When you're stopping a vehicle out there at the middle of the night, that's probably one of the most dangerous things we do as police officers. We have no idea who's in that car. Most of the time, it's a good person that's probably just having a bad day or just violated the law. But they have so much more information at their fingertips now that we used to not have. And a lot of times, you get that information in real time. A car that was stolen maybe an hour ago is now already entered in NCIC. And so as soon as they make that traffic stop, they know that ahead of time, or they know that that car checks to a person that's wanted. So it definitely helps officer safety. helps them know a little bit more about what they're dealing with.
In the coming weeks and months, do you plan to go out and visit the different stations and departments within the police department?
Absolutely, and I've been doing that all along since I've been a deputy chief and as a major too, and I plan on continuing to do that. The best ideas and the best understanding of what's going on now as a commander comes from those people that are doing the job. So whether it be investigations, patrol, uniform support, wherever officers are working and doing the job, I've got to get out there and listen to them, because the decisions I make affect them. And so I want their input. I want to know, what's working, what's not, and things that maybe we can do better. And there's been some really good ideas that have come from officers with not a lot of experience on the department. So if we don't tap that resource, we're doing ourselves a disservice.
For residents who don't know you and who will hear your name for the first time on the news tonight, what would you want them to know about you as you take on this role?
I would say, the biggest thing is just dedicated to this department, dedicated to this city. I've lived here since I got out of college and started my career here at the police department since 1989. Raised my family here, still have family here, and I just want them to know that I'm part of the community just as they are. I want the same things. I want to be able to go out in my neighborhood and walk the dog and feel safe just as anybody else does. I want to know that, I want them to know, the things that if they call the police for anything, that we're going to come out and we're going to help them any way we can. And I think that's what I want them to know about me, is I'm dedicated not only to this job, but to the city.
Chief.
Anybody else? All right. All right. Well, thanks again, everyone, for being here. I appreciate it.